exactly what we're doing. Not if we're live, that's cool. So this is something that I was thinking about, especially after. Well, it's always been kind of a problem. Action economy is always the thing that we overcome. I think it's the difficult situation of like, if I want to throw a tough boss type thing at you guys, then more often than not, y'all's action economy is just gonna win the day. What's up?
You're like anybody who would just be popping in is missing everything that you're saying because there's ads rolling right now.
Oh, okay. But we're just talking, so it's fine. I don't think anyone's popping in, but if so, that's fine too. What do we do? Should we wait? Just wait.
You can go.
Add wait. Also, we don't have Nemo on the thingy right now.
Yeah,
Oh, she's a name right
she sparkles when she talks, though. It's really nice.
Talk, Nemo. I want to see the sparkles. Show me the sparkles. Sparkle for me, Nemo. Are you sparkle shy, Nemo? Is that what's going on? You don't want to sparkle one other.
Oh, you saw the sparkles? I saw the sparkles.
I saw the sparkles. I saw 'em. It's okay. She's sparkle shy. It's fine. Guess I should have the stream up somewhere as well, just to see it.
It doesn't hurt.
Well, I'm not seeing any advertisements, so it seems like we're fine. We're fine. Hello, chat. Cool.
See.
What's up?
I don't know. The reactive images are being weird to me on the stream, but maybe it's just me.
What are they doing? I see them jumping up. At least when I'm talking. Is yours? What the heck?
I don't know what you mean by weird. It seems fine to me.
Pixelated, fading in and out between being lit up and not lit up, and just pixelated, I guess. Like when you use them, and like they kind of weirdly pixelate and unfade.
I am trying to see what happens on the stream. I don't see that. That's weird. I don't see where it's pixelating.
Yeah, I'm not seeing where it's pixelating either.
Seems like it might have fixed itself. I'm not really sure.
Maybe it was just a weird little stream Twitch thingy. I hope.
Stream lag, FPS, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Uploady, poor quality, whatever stuff. It's fine. Anyways. So, just like when almost every combat, obviously it has to be balanced, the difficulty around all of you guys. And there's the problem of action economy a lot of the times when it's like a boss encounter or there's one big bad of the encounter and maybe several small weaker things around. Hello, Ella.
Yeah.
So the problem it's one of two things. Either it can be balanced with like a high CR monster, in which case the player's action economy generally overwhelms any sort of challenge difficulty difference, right? Or it's a matter of evening out the action economy, but then that just turns combat into a slog like we saw recently. But just by throwing, oh, you guys have this much action economy available, I'll throw equal amounts of creatures or enemies or whatever to balance that out that way, And that makes it seem not as great. Are we all just talking to each other? Fucking, what kind of losers are we right now?
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know
Hey,
why it's
hi,
not letting
chat.
me chat. Come on, let me chat.
You can see. Like, oh, hello, Dune Light and Vane in the chat. Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys
Hey, we excited
enjoy
you.
your stay. Yep. Glad to have you here. Excited to have you here. Maybe you shouldn't be. What do you have a login thing on the stream for? I guess it's not on the stream.
Oh yeah.
I can see it. It's
Oh,
just
you
off
mean?
the screen. Okay, I can see it.
Yeah, you
But-
can see it, but it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm
Yeah,
showing
just
it to
making sure
you.
you're careful with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are very welcoming here. Like, if there's one thing that my players always say about me unequivocally, is that I am super welcoming and approachable, and they all always have no problems coming to me with stuff. So,
Absolutely.
so we try to extend that to you in the chat. So, hopefully you feel that. So when thinking about it, it was like at higher CR stuff, like with Brilgurn and other things that we would fight in Eden. A lot of times they have legendary actions, and the legendary actions go far and do well to balance that action economy without the need for more enemies to take full turns and more creatures and more stuff just flooding the combat map and flooding the combat. And so from that, kind of like a middle ground, a little in between, is essentially not quite legendary actions, but adding reactions to creatures, things that can be slotted into even the most like weak and mundane of creatures. So instead of needing to fill up, like add another enemy into the mix, you can just give the enemies that you want some reactions, and that will help to balance out the action economy. At least that's the theory and goal of this here. And Dave, Vane, I know you said that you looked at it, and I wonder briefly with Nemo, and I'm not sure if Dune, if you looked at it or not before we got into it here. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely took a look at it, and it was really interesting. So I don't know if you've already used. Well, I don't know
I've
if...
not. This came out the tail end of the of like the quarry, and being like, I don't want to have that kind of thing again. So it was more of how can I have fights that are balanced and even matched without being like, okay, you guys get 6 turns, so I get 6 turns.
Right, exactly. And I thought it was cool. I mean, is it the way it works here? So are you rolling like a d4 every turn for like certain reactions, and then like if it happens then you trigger that special reaction, or is it like
Not necessarily.
you can use
This is
them
just
whenever? Oh.
This is just for structuring, as far as like if you saw this in the DMG or something like that. Most of the times it'll be like, here's the chart and a roll a D whatever to determine which special reactions this creature gets, or you can choose them. So this is basically like a choosing thing. I broke down the tables into like categories essentially. Like there's the make a weapon attack. We can do something when a creature, when it's hit, when something moves near it, or when an allied creature is hit. These are like the trigger conditions or reaction. At first I was thinking like, offensive, defensive, and mobility were the 3, mobility/utility, I guess, were the 3 or the 4 categories to separate them into. But to answer your question, no, it wouldn't be rolling the dice. It would be during the design of the combat for the DM to in whatever way they choose, decide on one or more of these reactions to just cut and paste into the stat block of whatever creature they are, planning on running.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool then. So yeah, it's just structured and basically based on how they want to structure it / balance it. They can like pick and choose what they think fits. Okay. Cool.
So it could be like instead of, having 20 Dominion soldiers against you guys, I could have had maybe half as much, if that, and given them one or more of these reactions or special reactions, or a few of them to be like, the ones that get these special reactions. It's just a way to. It's the goal is to try to minimize the number of enemies without keep the same action economy with less creatures, basically. And legendary actions were too. Well, legendary. They're called legendary actions for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So this is more like, one, it can be something that's almost like a legendary reaction action, because special reactions are basically that, right? They don't count against your normal reaction. But they would have a specific trigger condition. And maybe if like you're fighting a rogue or whatever, and they use the take half damage from an attack special reaction, you'll be like, oh, that's like an uncanny dodge. And then that could be even something you as players know and can play around going forward. Like the chart isn't for like, oh, you get each creature has a random one of these reactions. No, this is just a sort of guidance to be like, cut and paste this for your, based on like, what you need from the enemy. Like a okay. Like for the I try to keep them generally vague and, well, not vague, but simple enough that they could be slotted into a wider variety of creatures.
Yeah, I can see this being used on just about anybody you want, and then, based on the type of creature, you can do some of the ones that seem a little bit more specific, but still pretty general. Like I saw the one like make a charisma intimidation or strength intimidation check, so that's kind of cool. Like if you're fighting something that's like big and menacing looking, it's not necessarily like a dragon's like fear.
Yeah,
legendary reaction, but it's like a mini one, right?
Like a bear is like, you're running towards a bear and it like gets up and does its intimidating bear stuff, and that just gives you pause, basically, like, oh, you stop. It stops you from moving towards it, right? That's the idea. Hello, Ajax in the chat. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you.
It definitely gives them some pause.
I don't want. Apparently, I've subscribed with Prime. I don't know how that happened. It just chose for me, I suppose. Was that you? There's a ghost in the system.
I'm the ghost.
Thanks for the subscription. Send the DM. Give them the pause. Yep. So that would be that kind of thing. Like I said, did I probably took it out, but before I gave an example of like a wolf or a dire wolf or something, when you get within range, use its reaction to move towards you and attack, right? Like lunging forward to get the first bite. And it's not meant to be huge game-breaking stuff, but just to hopefully balance out action economy while still having it be without needing to balance action economy while also minimizing the time between player turns, basically, is the goal.
One thing
you guys see any like what's up?
Oh no, like, well, one thing, I don't know if you thought about it, but it kind of jumps out at me. Like one thing that like is kind of cool is that it also kind of makes combat a little bit more dynamic, because it's not like with these reactions, it kind of makes the enemies like a little more alive. It's not really like you take your turn, I take my turn. It's kind of, it feels more like actually like real action fighting,
Yeah.
which is
And
really
that's
cool.
kind of what I said touched on before, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, oh, this guy, whenever I move near him, he like takes up this defensive stance and it's harder to hit him or whatever, right? So maybe cast a spell or do whatever with him, or oh, this one is the one that basically has the protection fighting style kind of thing about him, so be aware of that. Maybe target him instead of his friends that are near him, or something like that, you know. So that's kind of what it does. Like a lot of this stuff is just like typical reactions that you would find on other things. A lot of them are just uh, little bits and snippets of like feats and things like that. Just little parts of feats, right? But that's, you know, kind of the point. Anyways, pause for She Shanty 2. All right, good. Any problems though? Like this would have to be tested. I also don't know exactly like how adding these reactions, one or more of them, to a creature would impact its challenge rating. So I don't know what that's like as far as balance goes. That would need to be tested and seen, I think. Because it has to affect it in a certain way, right? But I don't know exactly how it.
Mm, I mean, nothing here seems game breaking. So I mean, depending on how much the reactions you want to tack on, which I would think that you should probably limit it to like maybe a couple. Or I don't know how much you would think is balance add to an enemy, because I know you want to affect the challenge rating, but I mean, how much
Well,
would you say is reasonable to add to like a creature that's like maybe like a mini boss or like a boss that you're creating?
yeah, that's exactly the point. Like we're looking at mostly creatures that are obviously not at the challenge rating that they would have legendary actions all. This is for the creatures below that level, right? Because these special reactions are essentially not as good legendary actions. Essentially, legendary actions are reactions that you could use anytime to do any number of things on your stat block, basically. This is like for if you're running up and you're like low level and you're like, I want to just have a normal dire wolf be a boss for the party, right? Then maybe you get it a special reaction here where if if it gets hit with a melee attack, it can attack back, or if it takes damage on a different creature's turn, it can then make him like lash out in a rage and make a melee attack. It has like a reaction where if you try to move closer to it, it can instantly use its reaction to move up to its movement speed, get out of the way, and be maneuverable, and that changes the fight. It's to do that instead of being like, oh, I want a dire wolf boss fight, so to balance it out of for action economy, I have to surround it with a pack of normal wolves, which is
So there's some chat stuff going on too.
hello.
You know, Dune says that CR is often misleading.
CR is often misleading. That is absolutely true. The main reason for that is because challenge rating in Dungeons and Dragons in 5e already, CR is basically broken. It barely functions as is. Because it just takes into account offensive and defensive stats like hit points, armor class, to hit bonus damage per round, and that stuff. And they don't account for any sort of special abilities or anything like that. It barely takes into account spells that the creature can cast. If a demon or something like that has a summon demon ability, it doesn't take into account how that would impact the fight. So there's a lot of things that challenge rating just does not account for, where it's not the best metric for balancing things, but it's, you know, hard to say, you know, how much does having evasion buff your challenge rating compared to pack tactics? Like who's doing that calculation? How do you compare those two things? You know, it's hard to do.
So Ajax had some input as well. Maybe if you were to make these elite enemies, Or, like you say, leaders of a group could be given these.
That's definitely something that could be done and something that is probably a good idea. But I think even if you're going up against normal run-of-the-mill enemies, they could be given one of or more of these instead of talking about throwing just more enemies at a party. There are times when certainly you want to have like the swarm and horde of goblins coming out, and then just pure numbers is what you're going for. But if that's not the goal of a combat and the goal is to just simply have a balanced fight, I think it's better to have fewer enemies, less turns, than it is to have more. So either giving like, weak enemies could even have like one of these. If you think about it, most you have the variant human player, and you have a lot of homebrew things that just allow people out the gate to have a feat at level 1. Think of one of these reactions or special reactions as just a part of a feat that you can tack on to a creature.
Hi, Beazle.
Hey, Beelzebub Boo Boo.
Hello. So that's the goal of it. And I say in here somewhere that if special reactions, which the difference between a special reaction and a reaction is a special reaction is it just doesn't take your normal reaction, right? So if you use a special reaction, you could still like make an opportunity attack or something on a different turn. But I say in here, like, if special reaction seems too strong for a thing, these are just options. These should just be options for normal reactions as well. Just
So,
in addition to what it can do.
says, yeah, having a more well-trained or a long-time group that have done the trade for a long time, that would work. And he thinks that's super sick.
Well, thank you. The whole goal is to make combat quicker, and not necessarily to just say, let's hurry up and get through combat, but to reduce the time between a player taking their turn and that same player taking their next turn. That's the goal. I say it up here, like, if you simply match the party's numbers and strength with an equal amount of equivalently powerful creatures, then the DM is getting half of the playtime during combat, and that's not fun. It's not fun for me. I don't like being in that position. Like, I'll be rushing through combat. I'll be moving creatures not on those creatures' turns just so I can get through their turn faster. Right, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen that before. It's just like, you guys are taking your turn on one side of the map, and I'm just like, okay, these guys are going to be moving. I'll just do this right now before, just to not go through all of that BS and take up time. I would much rather have fewer and more defined enemies and find other ways to make up the action economy difference.
Yeah.
And I think that legendary actions with a stipulation is a good way, because it's one, I think, dynamic, it's interesting, and two, throughout the combat, it gives you guys a chance to learn, adapt, and avoid those special reactions once you learn them. If you know that this thing has the ability to just run off every time that I get close to it, you can work around that.
Yeah, and I guess I know you were to circle back, because I know you were talking about how to challenge, how you could quantify these actions as like a challenge rating, since challenge rating is kind of like a broken system.
Yeah.
I guess would it be just something that like you kind of get a feel for as a DM as you're like learning your party's abilities and what they can do as a group? I guess as part of
Some of them,
would that be like a good metric?
I think that's a decent one. Some of them are certainly quantifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I was to put one of these up here that adds another weapon attack, I could see like what that creature that I'm tacking it onto, how much damage its weapon attack does, and say, okay, it gets another one of those per round, and then I could factor that into the challenge rating calculation. So that much is easy to do. It's the defensive and utility things that are hard to quantify. Like, how do you quantify increasing your armor class by your proficiency bonus for an attack? Like, obviously a creature with that is stronger than a creature without that, but by how much?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a good thing to think about. I mean, well, we can kind of reference the last combat a little bit. I know this is the first time you're actually putting this so that you can kind of have more liberty to apply this to any creature you want to run. But the winged fiend that we were fighting kind of had some of these special abilities and reactions, right? Or so
It had parry. That was really it.
that was
That was
it.
built
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Okay.
The like as far as reactions go, like it had the special ability, which was kind of special, just a not even technically a special ability. It was more like it was the Rift's ability that I flavored to be hers essentially.
Okay, so the Rift ability where she's summoning like
Yes.
General Zog. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, but I think that's kind of I don't know what her challenge rating would be if she didn't have like that parry, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's in line with what you're trying to do here to some extent, but apply it to like any creature.
Yes.
Okay.
And obviously, it would be up to the DM to say, you know, that's applicable to a creature, like something like this, the protection-esque feat one here. You probably wouldn't toss that onto, you know, a random wolf or, you know, swarm of rats, right? That doesn't really make much sense. But like a town guard or any knight or soldier or anything like that, even like a rogue thing that's justifiable, you could do that.
Just any enemy or any enemy, creature, DMPC, whatever it could be that you want to stand out and have its like special, these special reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole point of it, is just to bring legendary actions to every fight, essentially, with an asterisk, so that you don't have to flood the battlefield, bog down combat. Players get more turns. The battlefield is, like you said, more dynamic because things are happening and changing and moving on all creatures' turns, basically. Like, and yeah, it's essentially like you have your special like second wind stance thing that changes a lot off your turn. I don't know if anyone else here, like Azul with his metallic wings, huge with those reactions. I know Ezekiel with his warding flare, and I think he even has a special reaction warding flare as well with his shield. So it's like that kind of thing. And Battlemaster stuff. A lot of Battlemaster stuff has things where you could do stuff as reactions, help your allies command an ally to use their reaction to take an attack or move or whatever. So, and that's all just dynamic, and it's less of, all right, I'm done with my turn. I can tune out for 15 minutes and I don't care what happens until my next turn because it doesn't affect me.
Okay.
But there's like, I think as other than the, I guess the challenge rating question, which I think is the biggest thing, it's like, will there be any problems? Because obviously the goal is to like, how many of these reactions make up for an additional creature of a certain CR? You know, like if I'm like, I don't want to run 5 things, I only want to run 2. Like, would adding these make up for missing those additional 3 creatures? It depends how many, right? Do I add 2 of these special reactions? 3? What's the answer? I don't know. That's the question. But in general, do you think is there like a problem? Is there a glaring issue with this? Does it make it worse? Like, could it possibly make the game slower? Like, does it do the opposite of what I'm thinking it's gonna do?
I think it'll make the game faster. I mean, as long as you're not, of course, putting too many enemies that have these special reactions, which that's not the intention. So,
Yeah.
So that I think it'll make combat go quicker because then you have the one enemy, right? You can give it a decent amount of HP, and then it gets to do all these extra things that can emulate like the turn of an extra creature. So it makes combat a little bit scarier,
I
which
think
is
that is
good.
the. I think that's the answer. Like if
Yeah.
I'm putting a boss, it'll be like pump up its HP,
Mhm.
give it some special reactions,
Mhm.
and that's it, right? And then you could just have the one creature, and it also doesn't need to be like how a lot of combats end up being, which is we have 2 or 3 people surrounding one thing, and that one thing is staying still, and it's just a matter of rolling dice. Like that's another thing that I'm trying to get away from, and I don't know how to do that. That one is rough.
You mean like where there's just a lot of turns of just rolling dice back and forth type of stuff?
Yeah, where it's just like where movement is not happening anymore. Everyone's just the melees are in melee, the not melees are not in melee, and it's just no positioning or maneuvering is happening whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's what would be. That's why it's like it could make combat more dynamic, which is really cool because I think one of those was that they can just move up to like half their movement or their full movement as a reaction. Which, like for example, if you're fighting, um, like you said, like an animal, right? Like a wolf, right?
Mhm.
I don't feel like the wolf is just gonna stay there and go toe to toe with you, right? They're
Yeah, and that's some metagame stuff because as the DM or the person running that, you know that if you run away, that's just hastening the death of the creature
yeah,
due to opportunity attacks. So I mean,
exactly.
maybe that's why you drop in this special reaction. When you get hit, you can move up to half your movement speed without provoking an opportunity attack.
Yeah, and it could just make an enemy that you can envision being more evasive and then fighting in a more um
Hit
I
and
guess with
run,
guerrilla
maybe kind of way.
tactics to
Yeah,
yeah, you can give them that trait and then it makes that creature more dynamic, more alive than just doing what you were saying, which is just we're just standing here rolling dice. So that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
All right. So, Dune Light in the chat, you have a question, statement. He says, "The issue I think is that if this isn't known up front, it can mess up someone's plans."
Mhm.
Are you saying if the DM doesn't allow their players to know that an enemy has a specific reaction?
Mm.
Because that's already the case.
Um, or I don't know does he mean like
Because special reactions already exist in D&D. Perhaps I'm not understanding the concern. As it would be similar to me saying, hey, this enemy soldier guy, he has the sentinel feat. That would be fine and fair to say, and I don't think that it would necessarily need to be disclosed to the party beforehand. But I think it should be something that is discussed. This is the same reason why I'm talking about you guys with it now. Especially so that like the players, you can be in the mindset that, hey, some things will have these special reactions that trigger on certain things. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they can do or what their trigger is, but it can like letting you guys know that that's a thing could let you keep an eye out for that and be like, oh, is that one of those special reactions? What triggered it? Why did it do that? How can we work around and play around that? Could be a
yeah. I mean it's probably something that you would let I guess if it's because there needs to be some element of mystery and surprise because that's like just combat. But I guess yeah, I mean if you let maybe someone like the party know up front at the start of the campaign, hey, some creatures might have special reactions. It's up to you to figure it out and look out for that stuff. I
I
think
think
that's more than
more
enough.
than just that. I think
Yeah.
that might even be too much. I don't think that's necessary. What I would
Okay.
say is that like if say let's take this one for example here.
Uh-huh.
It can make a special reaction to make a single weapon attack when it takes damage on another creature's turn.
Mhm.
Right. That could very well also be like a creature within range hits with a melee attack, right? The same, it could look the same to the player, you know? They don't know what triggered it. So it would be a narrative thing on like my part as the DM to be like, you slash out with it with your sword and it opens the wound, and the searing pain seems to trigger some sort of like rageful reaction, and that might be like, oh crap, it seems to lash out angrily when it takes damage, basically. And being like, oh, okay, now you understand that it taking damage is the trigger. Whereas maybe I would say or word it differently if it was a creature within range hits it with a melee, which I think I should probably change anyway.
Oh.
Because I think that should be specifically against the creature that hit it, not just, oh, you hit me, I'm going to hit your friend now.
Yeah, more like a counter attack against the creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the fix. I mean, it's what you do anyways, so I guess you kind of narratively do it in the moment, so that you're not just like, yeah, they just hit you again.
Yeah.
I think that's good then.
How do I word this? When a creature within range hits it with... Let's go with that. Just to know specific better. So it would be something that I would play, and I would try to be mindful of making it clear what the triggering condition was, so that you guys aren't just, why is this thing attacking us over and over again, and could actually play around it.
I think we should probably test it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to, because I'm like, it's always something that I'm thinking about, like how to make the game better, and a lot of that does stem from combat, because I enjoy combat, but it can be the worst part about the game.
If it becomes the slog that
Yeah.
was mentioned, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it can absolutely
sure.
be the worst part of the game. So, yeah, that's the first step, I guess, to looking at and trying to overcome action economy. I don't know really what else to talk about it. It is what it is. I think I'm gonna post this onto the Patreon, onto Reddit later, see what people think. It's not a crazy revolutionary take, I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know what you guys think about it.
Boone says he loves combat. Not entirely how long it takes, though.
Yeah, which is what it's trying to fix. You know, you like doing combat but it kind of sucks when, like, oh man, I got my turn, huh? And now what? So we're trying to get you back to your turn quicker. That's what I'm trying to do with this, is trying to get you guys back to your turns quicker after you finish your turn. So I think if that's the case, then that leads to people being more engaged if things are happening and changing, that actively watching it. And so maybe we also it could have the side effect of, when it comes back to a player's turn, there's less, oh, what do I do now? Or maybe there's more. Maybe these things will be like, thought I knew what I was going to do until that last reaction, and now I have to think about it.
So, we have someone on this, like, watching the stream. I think that Vane is familiar with, who's done some of the character art for us.
Oh yeah, it's Bizo Boo Boo. He's he popped in, was watching the stream, so happy he was, he's watching, hanging out.
That's cool. Hello.
Shout out to him, yeah. He did help out. Oh, he created the minis for Bishop and Ezekiel, so it's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Much appreciated.
So, I mean, we could talk about this some more. I think that's pretty much it. Or we could jump into making something else.
I'm all for it. Yeah. If you want to jump into the making stuff on the like another homebrew on stream, then we could do that too.
Sure. Let's see. Move out to a new window. Let me just change what I am streaming so that we can change my screen. Because I'm good at this. Let's see. There we go. All right. So you said you watched Netflix's Castlevania, right?
I love the series.
We have chat.
We have chat.
What
From
do you
whom?
think, Zen, about an item that is kind of the opposite of
Shit.
Phantasm from Dune?
So let's see. The opposite of Phantasm. So Phantasm was a cursed sickle that the more creatures you slayed with it, you got a stacking buff. You would get like a plus one. You would basically get a bonus to your dexterity score. So every 2 creatures slayed, you'd get like another armor class, another to hit bonus, another damage bonus with it, until it got to a certain amount of stacks, and then it completely transformed. So what are you saying? What would the opposite of that be then?
Dune says evolving for a good narrative reason rather than an evil cursed one.
Are you suggesting something like every time that you use magic to cure somebody or something like that, you get some sort of bonus? Are we trying to just make Ezekiel actually heal? Is that the goal item?
That's crazy.
Like
I
every
thought
time, once you heal enough, then you get a bonus to your damage spell. What are you doing here?
I was thinking more of the Final Fantasy 11 trial weapons, like when you do like the Empyrean weapons that you have to. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be that crazy, but you know how you have to do like 1,000 skill chains or something to get to like the next step or so often. I don't know if that's what he
Okay.
means. Is that what you mean?
No, you're gonna stay catching strays, Ajax.
He said sorta, yeah. It doesn't have to be mechanically.
Oh, so it would just be like I'm
be
like
narrative. Okay.
Okay. So I think that's a cool idea. I think it's an interesting idea. I think it would be something that I might keep ambiguous from you.
Oh.
As opposed to being like, what's next on my list, magic item? Help an old lady across the street. All right, let's go find one. Like,
Yeah. The ambiguous Bishop Arbormancer checklist.
Oh wait, what?
You remember you said? I mean, I know it was a joke.
Oh
but like,
yeah, the ambiguous. Yeah, that.
yeah, but like, hit with your weapon in melee like X amount of times, burn
Yeah,
your spell
exactly.
slots. Yeah.
All right, so new class, the Forge Master.
Ooh. Oh, the Forge Master. Oh, I remember. I made this as a joke when we were doing. Damn.
Did you? What?
Yeah. You were talking about something and you called it the Forge Master, and I'm like, oh, what are we just making demons now? That's why
I mean, it's
that's what I
a pretty-
referred
I
it to.
think
Yeah.
it works. So I did a little bit of research into this, more than just like what I remember from Castlevania. Like, apparently those characters and that concept is from like a PS2 game or something like that, and so it gives us an actual like. You can actually find, some stats and abilities and stuff, and once you have that, you can just translate it over to D&D pretty easily. At least I find it pretty easily to translate stuff to D&D. I don't know if that's normal or not. Maybe I'm crazy. All right, so here we go.
You're special, not crazy.
I'm special. I'm
Oh
special.
dear. Oh wait.
I'm
Okay.
special. Yeah. So the whole thing about this is they can forge innocent devils, whatever that. Obviously, D&Ding it would have to be a thing, but essentially, let's see, where was it? So I think I was looking at Hector.
Yes, Hector.
He is Hector.
Let me see if I can
And
zoom
so
out
it
of this.
has. You want me to zoom? I can zoom out.
Oh, I'm going to zoom out. Oh, you can zoom out.
Oh,
That's
dude,
perfect.
I can zoom out. So you see, you have devil forging, and it gives an overview of like what can be done. Like you can make fairy type, battle type, bird type, mage type, and devil type things. So it's like, okay, is that a piece of framework that I can work with? Because it describes basically what they do. Like fairy types aren't really, they're not battle, but they can heal and cure poisons and curses and stuff like that. Battle types are obviously the combat things. Bird types can fly and maneuverability and stuff like that. Mage types cast spells, and devil types are kind of like a hybrid of battle and bird types. So they can also combine weapons and stuff like that. So, but I was just basically looking at these 5. Like, that could be something to look at, and that's pretty easily adaptable, you know. So that's kind of what I was looking at. I don't know how exactly it would work. I don't know exactly what the subclasses would be. And maybe it could even go beyond, like maybe we can think outside of the framework of just devils, right? It could be a variety of creatures perhaps, or something like that. Or maybe it doesn't even have to be creatures. Maybe it could be constructs, or I don't know.
Monstrosities?
Monstrosities.
Because, I mean, displacer beasts are pretty cool, but they're not beasts.
You want to forge it?
They're monstrosities.
You want to form monstrosities?
It's a good kitty.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly how it would go about it. Like, what's the class? Is it a non-caster? Is it a half-caster? Is it a full caster? It's probably not a full caster. I was thinking non-caster. Like, what they do is magical, but they don't actually cast spells themselves. Maybe it's a pact caster? Is the warlock a subclass? Is it an artificer subclass?
I could see it as a warlock, like a pack caster, because it's something like the concept of a forge master is that they have some sort of magical ability, right? But it's like it's all channeled through that tool, right? So it's like the hammer or the dagger, like in the series, right? Because there's 2 different forge masters. But I don't think I ever saw them use magic themselves ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So maybe they shouldn't be a caster at all, because giving them a packed magic slots or giving them spell slots means they should have a spell list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of it could be a quote unquote packed caster or whatever, but we just rename the resource to something else.
Yeah.
And eventually they can forge so how does it work though? What's the thing? The thing I was thinking is, like, does it actually require souls to make these things? Kind of like, I don't know, like the warlock, the hexblade, or the College of Whispers bard that can like hang on to a little piece of somebody after they die, you know?
Yeah, because the lore was they're taking like the bodies of the dead, right? And then I guess the soul that's attached to them, then forging them into like demons or whatever it is, right? That's, if I remember correctly, it's been a couple years since I've seen it.
I think that theirs was more like, yeah, they would take the bodies of the dead and they would infuse it with, I think, the devil spirits or whatever into the bodies.
Okay.
So they weren't actually using the souls or spirits of the dead. They were just using their bodies as the raw material, essentially.
Okay, yeah, pretty much to tie the demons to the plane, and then like the demons would kind of morph the undead body into their form or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how would that work in D&D, or in even a combat scenario, or an out of combat scenario?
Well, this thing is absolutely a pet class, right? 100% a pet class. So that's the starting thing. Is one, how do you make the pet? Sure. Maybe there's like a base kind of level pet that doesn't require anything. It's just like a husk that you can summon, craft, whatever. I was actually thinking about this earlier. It's coming back to me. Called like an empty, right? You can craft an empty, essentially. That's just weak, like cantrip. You can think of it as the cantrip, right?
Right. Okay.
And then with your whatever it is, whatever resource that they have, you can imbue that empty with that to make it into whatever we decide or whatever's decided it's going to be, whether it's like one of these devil types, something else entirely. Like Nemo said, maybe this is a monstrosity crafter. Who knows? Maybe instead of this, and it, instead of the beast master, it's the monstrosity master. It's like, here you go, just the chimera builder,
Yeah, that sounds really cool. It also sounds kind of cool to mix in a theme of like, I mean, I don't know if this would be good to balance around, but it's also kind of cool how like the Hexblade has that feature where like if I don't remember if it's they kill somebody or if something dies within
Yeah,
they can kind of use their
they
reaction
get
to
a specter.
yeah, so it's kind of like you can mix that in too, where like maybe they can take the bodies of their defeated enemies to create something else, or
That's
to
what I was thinking, yeah. So you could basically have that, whether you call it a soul or a spirit or the essence of a creature or humanoid or whatever stipulation you need to add onto it to bring along, and you could use that to infuse into an empty or create or forge another creature entirely.
Mm.
And eventually I was thinking, like, later on, you could like unlock the ability to forge essentially soul coins, right? So that you don't have that you could, when you get one of those, say like the specters, you can store it for later. Up to a certain maximum. I don't know, maybe proficiency bonus maximum.
So you store the soul coins proficiency bonus maximum so that you can just have those extra soul coins to
Yeah.
imbue into your
If we're talking about it like warlock, like that hexblade warlock, instead of saying, "Oh, you're my specter now, and you're gonna fight with me," you can be like, "You're gonna be my specter later, when I want you to be." Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a really cool concept, and how, and then I'm excited to see how the class will evolve from like the base husk to like you getting towards the later levels when now like you're forging stuff similar to like the Forge Masters in Castlevania, where they get crazy.
I like how I come off of talking about D&D action economy and all of that, and then suddenly it's like, hey, you want to build an army of devils like from Castlevania?
Yeah. Yeah, Circle of Demons Druid. Circle of Shepherds.
Demons. Circle of Demons. Oh, not sure. First level, you get Ritual Astronomy, of course. Second level is Torque Interfacer, You also get that at fourth level. Anyways. This is just...
What are some of those abilities?
It's just the default, like, base whatever when you load in a table from the homebrewery.
Oh, it just has Ritual Astronomy.
Yeah. Just silly stuff like that, yep.
Oh.
Plasma Gunslinger, of course. Second Ritual Astronomy. Gunpowder Torturer, the usual stuff.
Police Necromancer? Perfect.
Orbital Gravedigger, it's an ability and a resource.
Absolutely.
What are the subclasses of this called? Your smitheries. Smithereens. Your smithies. Smithy. Your forge.
Forge. The Orf.
Orf?
Orf.
Orf?
Yeah, the
What's an
orf.
orf?
I
What's
don't
an
know.
orf?
That was the input of my dog. Orf.
Oh, the orf. Maybe it's not called the Forge Master though, because maybe we'll get people that are like, actually, that's just a blacksmith. What does this have to do? I
I mean,
thought
but
this was gonna be a blacksmithing class.
but there was blacksmithing in in, in Castlevania too. That's just what they were coined, the Forge Masters.
The
Um,
person who things out other things class.
hmm.
Because like, here's the thing. I don't mind calling it the Forge Master. I kind of wanted to call it the Forge Master, but if we call it something other than the Forge Master, you can name the subclasses Forges, and you could have like the Forge of whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I know it's not a cleric, but domain seemed like a pretty good word.
Hmm. So something
Dominion.
domain-ish? Like you have a special domain over a certain type of like
Your jurisdiction.
monstrosity or a creature? Is that kind of what you were going for,
Oh.
Nemo?
Yeah, like it's your specialty, to make like chimeras or devils or demons or whatever it is.
That's cool. The creature type is what is your subclass. That's cool. That's
Mhm.
cool. I like that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I don't want to use domain. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah,
I knew you wouldn't, but I was like, this is the top of my mind, so maybe you guys have a solution, like a better one.
Let's go to Google and look for domain synonyms.
Domain synonyms. Let's see. Domain synonyms.
I have to step away for a moment because
No problem.
but I will leave, of course, everything on there. Hopefully it doesn't go off the rails. Bye.
See ya. All right. Yep. This is 90% of making a class is just looking for being a thesaurus, basically. Realm, department, field, specialty, discipline. Discipline? How is discipline not used? That should be a monk thing. Is that a thing? Discipline.
Thought it was a monk thing. Province. That's a suggestion
Vocation.
from Ajax.
Province. Terrain. Business.
Ah.
I'm in the business
It-
of demons.
Dune says monks are now warriors of, end quote.
That sounds absolutely awful. That's so dumb. I'm glad we're not using 2024. Why? Why? What was wrong with way of? I don't understand. What's the difference? Why does that need to change? I think they should have said discipline. For a monk, it sounds like it should be a discipline. Saying warrior of doesn't move it that far from Far Eastern theme. Just saying. The warrior of the four elements doesn't make me think any less Far Eastern. Well, not when you say it with that accent. Whatever, not the point.
Well, I mean, their loss is your gain, right?
There we go. Yes, I get to use discipline now. Haha. TM.
Dune
Copyright.
says exactly.
Domain, realm, area, element, department, Welcome to the Department of Fiends. Discipline point. Oh, that's why. Because we don't have way and key. No key anymore for monks. I mean, what even is a monk then? Why did they keep it monk? Why isn't it pugilist? They should have renamed it pugilist if that's what they wanted to do. Because I promise you, fucking Athelstan from England isn't punching people in the face. So what monk are we talking about? Don't get me started just talking to the fucking mic on my own about
No,
D&D
you're
24.
not.
I can.
It's
I
fine.
can-
It's fine. It's just.
Yeah, there you go. It shouldn't have been the monk. The kangaroo. The kangaroo warrior of the open hand. What? They still have like open hand. I don't understand. Like, why still have it be monk then? It doesn't make any sense. Because you're not talking about, medieval England monastery Christian monks, right? That's obviously not what's being portrayed in the class. So why change everything else except for the name of the class?
I mean, it could be. I mean, really, you could have maybe they are working with their inscriptions and stuff, and they can Dapo poet things.
But they're punching stuff. They're still unarmed fighters. They're unarmed fighters.
Well, I just meant because you keep bringing up Athelstan, and I was like, he was.
I like
an
how
artist.
we're going away from the Far Eastern whatever stuff. I want to see the art in the book and pretend like it's not still fucking Chinese, Japanese monastery, some guy with a quarterstaff and a gi. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dedicated weapons, like what? The same exact stuff that they had in, like, it's not Far East. Your monk weapons, such as nunchaku and. Yep. All right, change the title of the stream to "Dunking on 24." Good. Bullshit. With the cheery casino music in the background. Yeah, don't worry. I'll keep ranting. It's all right. This is entertainment. This is what the people want. All 5 people here, which are just us anyway. Let's see. Compass of, breadth of, the racket of. Are we running a racket here? A vocation? Scope. Beefdom. Bailiwick? What's a bailiwick? A region of activity, knowledge, or influence. Let's look up specialty. Domain, field, element. Forgery? Yeah, see, I like the forge of, like, I like that, but then we'd have to think of a different name, right? Or can you just be, I'm a forge master, forge of monstrosities? Like, what? Forge master. Forgeman. Hammer boy. The Puppet Master. The Puppet Crafter. The Marionnettist.
Okay, so this is the. No, never mind. It's bad.
This is the no. You are correct. What's up?
Because you could fashion something like you forge it.
Oh, the
you fashion it.
fashionista.
Yep, the fashionista.
The fashionista. I am the fashionista. Demon forges. Forge. What are they like? They're like divine domains. So what kind of forges are they? Creature forge? Are they soul forges? Are they... no,
Bane
that's dark now.
suggests maybe something with planes that you're pulling these creatures from.
Plane forge. What is it? The Gatesmith. The Portalologist.
What about Dominion? You already had that, didn't you?
You did, yeah, I guess so. Are we staying with Forge Master for the class name then?
Could be. I don't know.
Dastardly Dominions. But what are they called? Like what dominions? Like again, like divine domains, marital archetypes, initiative? What do you
Initiate? Is that...
I don't know what initiative is supposed to be. What?
I was just thinking like maybe you meant like, someone starting out in a craft. Like an initiate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though.
But you're not always going to be starting off.
So you said something about a gate, something or other? Like what was
For the
that?
class, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
gates could be a demon gate, devil gate, fey gate. But what do we call those types? What do we call those creature types? Like, you're
So Ajax says, Forge Master initiative.
Fiend. Initiative. Your initiative. Like it? It sounds okay. But it's also a D&D term. It would be like naming it an action. Initiative. But what do we call them? Like, I get, like, if we're going with initiative, you have, like, a cleric, like the cleric's domains are like divine domains. It's not just initiative. What's the planar initiative? Yeah, I like it, but like again, what is it? Like your gates. We'll just call it gates. And you have what your fiendish, I don't know how to type. Fiendish gate. Fey gate. Monstrosity gate. My next question is kind of what's the point? Are we making whole classes that are centered around basic spells? Because there are spells that just summon these creatures anyway. Most of them. So what distinguishes this from just someone casting summon greater demon or summon whatever fae or that kind of thing.
Well, they should be like custom stat blocks, right? And be a little bit maybe modular and have different traits. Like it wouldn't just be a base demon that you're summoning because you're forging it or
I mean, are you telling
whatever.
me that we are gonna have are we going to have invocations? I'm
Yes.
okay with it. All right. Let's just go down here and let's type some notes. Invocations. Yes. Cool. So what if we did not? What if we didn't gate the class type, the specific thing, to a class type? Like anything can go. The class types, the subclasses aren't based around which type of creature you can forge. What if it was like the Warlock Pacts? Because you can be like a Hexblade Warlock, but you could be a Hexblade Pact of the Tome Warlock if you were an idiot, right? You could do that. So, what if instead of a subclass, it would be like the Pact or whatever you want to call it, but it would be like a Pact of the Fae or a Pact of Monstrosity, and that determines what types of creatures you specialize. And then the subclasses can be more, super hyper pet focused, maybe, or maybe like someone that gets up close and personal as well and fights melee too, or whatever. The subclasses are more focused around the forger themselves, the player themselves, rather than the character themselves outside of their summons, maybe.
So,
So it'd be like, you'd have the Fae Pact, the Fiend Pact, the Celestial, the Strati. Any creature you want, really, any creature type. Humanoid, maybe not humanoid.
Bane says, like fiendishly altering yourself or summoning a pet.
Perhaps. And then it would be these pacts and stuff that would affect we're basically rewriting Warlock here, kind of. Sort of.
Oh, instead of, should it be a subclass then?
I don't think so. It doesn't. A subclass doesn't do as much as we said. It could probably worked down into that, but it would maybe need a subclass, maybe a pact. I don't know.
So, I guess Bane's suggestions were as 2 subclass options, like the fiendishly altering yourself. Then.
Yeah. Except we're not looking at fiend. We're trying to go out of the Castlevania Forge Master starting point. I don't want to be boxed into that, and so we are stepping out of Castlevania Forge Master to somebody that can create creatures of specific creature types to fight for them or alongside them, and trying to differentiate it enough from Warlock and from all of the spells that already do that.
Well, I guess one of the things would be just, like you said, you were thinking you didn't want this class to have magic at all. Is that
Correct.
still the case?
At the moment, yes. But, we're already making it so Warlock-like. Maybe it will be a Pact caster, but at the moment, I was thinking no magic. like maybe it could have stuff that replicates it, like whatever its resource is could be used with certain invocations taken to cast spells, or maybe they can forge creatures that can cast spells. They can't, but they can forge the creatures that can, you know.
Fane says Fae, celestial fiends, etc., but with unique flair.
I mean, that's the idea, at least, of the certain like pact. So you can think of it as like specialties, or maybe these are what we call the initiatives, like what they specialize in, and that will determine different invocations. Like you'd have to have requisite Fey initiative to take the ability to modify your a certain Fey way, you know.
Well, in 1D&D, you don't even really get like unique wild shapes anymore. You just get it like when you wild shape you, or like at least one of the things I read. I don't know how it actually is, but you just choose the type of damage you do, and you have you look the way you want to look, and it's just like a base stat block.
Let's see. Dunelight says, "Hey Zen, Fey D's. I don't get it, Dunelight. What does that mean? Fey D's what? What? I don't. You having fun there? All right. Could we get a moderator in the chat, please? We have someone spare. Just. Anyways. Oh, thanks, Dunelight. All right, shout out to Dunelight, one of our best moderators. Love you, boy. Yeah, just take care of that for me, man. Appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, as I was saying, like maybe you just have the one stat block that's like you can apply different damage types to.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. So, similar to how the wild shape forms is like land, sea, and like earth or whatever. Like, I
It's
mean,
just
land, sea, and sky.
yeah, like your land or whatever, and then you decide if you're doing bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. You know, you just pick.
All right, so we have. So what we do is the resource here, right? Is basically like build points. Okay, and so you have like 10 build points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be like, you know, for like, I don't know, you have just stupid fucking creature buff shit, right? And then build point cost, and then let's see, let me just do this to format. Actually, no, let's go. Is that an equals? Did I do that right? That's an, I'm blind. All right.
How blind?
Pretty blind.
Not when.
I don't know if that was a setup for something, but
Nope.
so you have like, you know, big ass claws, right? And that's gonna cost you 2. You know, then you have maybe something like sparkly fey wings,
Are you
right?
showing
And
us
that's
a
gonna
table
cost you
right now?
3. Yeah, I'm showing you a table right now. Here you go.
You're not showing us a
So
table right now. If you're
there you go.
intending to, we're just seeing
I'm
for
writing
it
a table
faster.
right.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
So it could be something like this, you know, like I don't know, demon eye cost, you know, 1. Something like this, where I'm not gonna write it as a table, but basically the class's resource are these build points named TBD, and depending on what you want to throw into your empty to create it, it costs a certain amount of these resources. So every time you summon it, you're customizing it with what you have available, what types of different stuff you have available. You get these things from like the invocation, perhaps, or some of them. Like some of them will come like right into the class. Some of them will be invocations that you can take. And then the build points, you get more of those as you gain levels in the class. Does that make sense? Is that good? Is that too confusing?
Repeat it one more time.
So the class resource are these build points, right? And these build points you use to give different statistics, abilities, attributes to what the creature you're forging. So maybe at like, level 1 you start off with 1 point, maybe, I don't, and you can either choose to give it like sharper teeth, claws, a tail, whatever have you, right? And those come with different buffs. I don't know. Let's see if I can get my ideas, heads, whatever. So, forge a thing. Forge a creature. Let's try to be as clear as possible. One. Forge a creature. I'm trying to explain it. I'm trying to get it out of my head. So I have it in my head. So you have a certain amount of resource points. You can call them spell slots. You can think of them as spell points, I guess. Just because that's something that we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And say you wanted to give this creature that you're forging some kind of offensive buff. Let's call it Devil Claws or whatever. You would have the Devil Claws from probably an invocation that you took, or maybe it's just part of the like a feature or a class action ability that you have. But those Devil Claws cost you a certain amount of the build points, a certain amount of your spell points to attach and infuse into the forging of this creature. Right? So say you have like Jesus Christ. I'll just make this simpler. Just pause.
I understand where the direction you're going with it, though.
Okay.
But
just example purposes, I guess. So let's say you wanted to create a creature. You have the base stat block of the creature, your empty or whatever it is, right? And you have however many class resources, however many build points, which is going to go up as you level up. And you can choose from the amount of buffs that you've acquired, either from just naturally leveling up in the class or taking your modular choices of the invocation-like things. Each one of those is going to come with an associated cost, essentially, and then give your summoned creature an effect.
Okay, I like that though. That's kind of like your modification to the creature, or you forging the creature basically. Kind of putting
Yeah.
it together yourself.
Yeah. And these build points aren't necessarily like a resource that is getting lost. It's just like a cap. Like, customize your character. You have this many, attribute points to allocate wherever you want, or point by things to do whatever you want with it, right? It's not like now if I summon something with claws, now I only have 2 build points the next time I summon. No, I still have the 5. That's just how customizable my creature is. Maybe a different resource is or it's a proficiency bonus per day type thing, how many I can summon.
Okay. Well, this is actually really cool. It kind of reminds me of, actually, you were mentioning Puppet Master. It actually reminds me exactly how automatons work in Final Fantasy, that you have to, they have a certain amount of points for, the little equips you can put into them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that is a very good comparison. That's kind of exactly what it is.
I remember it was, well, you have the base automaton, the equips of armor and weapons determine the type of it is, and I think then the job traits was what was the build points part of it. I think it was.
I think you had your frame was what determined the elemental attribute points, and then it was your weapons and attachments and all of that made those. So maybe that's something that can be done too. Like, how complex do we want to make this? Like, do we have different types of points, you have a offensive build point thing, a defensive, a spell based one, and maybe is that too much? How Final Fantasy 11 has the elements. Maybe you can be let's call it your empty frame, right? And it has offensive build points. Zero slash, whatever. And this is just setting it up to be like the Puppet Master.
Okay. Offensive build. Okay.
Just looking like Puppet Master,
Okay. So then is your, would the idea then be somewhere maybe just a defensive? So because you're going after defensive build, that's the type of frames that you have. So would it be okay, that's exactly okay. So now that's kind of the direction I was pointing to.
And
so
this is just example numbers or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. So the idea then what if we do you could have Faye that does maybe something like that. It modifies the empty frame, so you could do less offensive, more defensive in magic, or something like that. Maybe monstrosity would be again, the numbers don't matter, but it's just the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. At least it makes sense to me so far.
And so based on what creature type you're building, you have different caps, different limits to the amount of build points that you could put into different things. So that would require, it's getting more complex now. Okay. That would require each of these different buffs to have like a build point cost associated with it, as well as be set into one of these categories that we are, talking about.
Well, how can we make it simpler then? If you wanted to like go in a simpler direction.
Simpler would be not having the category.
Okay. Not having the categories and then you
not
just
having
have
the categories and then
creature.
Yeah, you would have just an amount of build points that you can put into any creature, and the differentiation between Fey, Fiend, Celestial, Monstrosity, all of that stuff would just be like, if you want to take maybe you want to take some kind of invocation, right? And that's like specific, like you have to have the Pact of the Fey or the Initiative of Fey or what to take this invocation type thing that allows you to affect your monster in some way. Like maybe, a Hellfire attack. Learn that modification, you have to have the Fiend specific initiative.
Okay, so categorize it more by the type of creature, and then after that you kind of have the.
Well, it would just be like getting rid of this.
Yeah.
Because this is all staying the same regardless. It's just, is this implemented or not? Do we want to change it that much, or is just having you want to have healing magic? You take either the Fey or Celestial one maybe, and maybe the Celestial has even more than the Fey or anything else does. If it were just up to me, I'd go crazy and all out and do something with this stuff down here. But that might be too complex.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I mean, it sounds like it'll be maybe cooler in the long run if you kind of dive into that, but it also makes it like the barrier of entry to just want to play the class becomes a lot more difficult probably. If you have to like put all that stuff in. It's kind of like, to be honest, it's kind of just like how Warlock feels. Like when I first started playing D&D, I couldn't even tackle the idea of a Warlock because like when I looked at the invocation list, like I just checked out. I'm like this is way too much for me. Like I cannot deal with like juggling learning spells plus my pact plus like how I want to play, and then these invocations they're so complicated.
Yeah, it's like what's the difference between a pact and a subclass?
Yeah, like that was so much for me that like it made me not even look at the class. Now that I understand D&D more, I can tackle it, but not back then.
No, I get you. Yeah, Warlock is definitely one of the most, if not the most complex one in D&D. But I also don't necessarily design stuff for. Like I design stuff that's various, difficulty things. Like Dark Knight, I feel like is more complex than like even Armormancer, right? Maybe maybe not. But Dark Knight definitely has some complexities to it, as far as
I think the resource management is a lot more
last
complex
resort. Yeah,
in Dark Knight. Like I feel like at face value it's easier to understand, but in play it's harder to actually like maneuver managing those resources, like your hit dice. Whereas Armormancer seems like it may be more complicated at face value, but mechanically it's a lot more straightforward. You use the trigger, you got 6 points that you can use for these actions, and just you got to figure it out what you want and what combination you want to use them in, basically.
Yeah. I mean, neither of those are like version 1 summoner. That was
true. Version 1 summoner was so complicated, but it was really cool. At least.
I mean, Convoker is still fairly, it's better. It's less complicated. It's not the simplest thing.
Well, I think
I'm still thinking about changing that. I'm still thinking about making Convoker Pact Magic class.
Oh, you're trying to go Pact Magic? Oh, okay.
I think making that a Pact Magic class instead of a 3/4 caster.
Oh yeah, the 3/4 caster. Yeah, it was a cool idea, but I can see how it has its complications.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. No, this is as far as I can go. Just pull this back. Looks better. I just try to get it looking better on the stream. Stream's fairly. Is that better? That's probably.
Let me see. Hold on, I think it's fine. Well, yeah, just
Okay.
it's a little more zoomed in now, but we got everything on it. I think that's fine.
Okay. So, let's see. At level 1, are we starting forging at level 1?
I think it needs to. Cause what else
So
are
just
they
with
gonna
the
do?
empty.
Yeah, I think
Because
just with the empty. Yeah.
okay. So, let's see. Do we start the initiatives at level 1 as well? Or no? Do those come in later?
So, like, do you want this class to be able to physically attack, or
I think
it's like
that
a
yes.
magic caster would have like cantrips or something at this level? So it would need either to have a pet that's suitable or to be suitable itself to participate in combat.
True.
That's true.
And is the pet, does the pet have an HP pool, or is it just something that gets used and then the HP pool is just the Forge Master's HP? Because if it's dependent on a pet class,
What are you talking about?
like, so there's 2 separate HP stat blocks.
Oh, you're
Right.
saying like instead of like a pet class, it's like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand?
Maybe, I
Like
don't
a
know.
mech class. You build your Gundam suit.
You
when
have
get into
like
it.
you have Ansem from Kingdom Hearts 1.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because, yeah, you either go the route of like, well, it has cantrips, it has its own way of fighting, but then you have to like balance that out. But you can't make it so that, you know, if you're making it the pet class right away, that the pet just dies and then now my class is useless.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna be just trying to punch or something.
Maybe it's like what? Well, that depends on like how many times you create the thing. Does it like maybe is it like proficiency bonus per short rest, per long rest? Is it unlimited? Is it something like Armamancer, where you have a cantrip quote unquote version of it? And also, this needs to have a different, it's a separate, another column.
Are you still going with like the invocation route?
I think I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to for
Well,
the
then-
customization part of it.
So then it could be unlimited to some degree.
Hmm.
But of course, it's losing your pet should still be something that is punished. So I don't know if it'll just cost a whole action to resummon it, or whatever you want to do, and
Does
then
it cost an action, or does it cost like time as well?
True.
If it costs time, something that you can't just redo in the combat, or maybe you could do it like as an action a certain amount of times a day, like proficiency bonus times a day. You can do it as an action. Takes it, something like that.
Okay, yeah, like to repair or like to revive or something the creature amount of days, it's you can do it as an action. After that,
Yeah.
it's like like it's just too damaged, and you need time to like repair it and like graft it back together or like fix it up for like the next day.
Hmm.
That kind of.
Maybe I wasn't thinking of it like that. That's interesting. I was thinking of it more like, you can create this thing like forging whatever. How I don't know exactly what the methodology is of how it comes to be. Is it magical? Is it like actually like you have a bunch of physical body parts that you've been collecting that you're stapling together? Like, is that what you're doing? Like, how does that work? But like, I was thinking the normal way that you could do it is with could conjure your your vessel, whatever, with any quote unquote attachments that you want, right? And that's just how it works base. An hour of work to get your empty. Or you have 2 uses or however proficiency bonus uses a day where you can just do it as an action instead. And that lets hopefully that is enough to let the class not ever or rarely ever be without its pet. Because you should probably be like, start of the day, I'm going to take the hour, 10 minutes, or the minute, or whatever it is, to perform this ritual, which is basically what it is, to summon my thing.
Right.
So then it wouldn't have a duration?
That's the other thing. Should it have a duration?
Well, I mean, I mean, like, Beastmaster Pet doesn't have a duration necessarily, right?
I guess not. What if... Alright, what if... instead of this build point, or maybe alongside of it, going back to the idea... what if it got stronger the more you had the same pet out? Like when a creature within whatever X amount of feet of it dies.
Like it's absorbing
Pokemon.
Like their enemies, or like it's leveling up. It gets EXP and levels up.
I don't know. Maybe not
It
that.
would be motivation to keep it alive, to not treat it like an expendable, like, like you could conjure animals and have them go check for traps because they're expendable. You probably don't want this pet class to feel expendable. Or, I mean, the pet of this class.
Yeah. I agree. But let's see. Or should it feel expendable? I don't know. Like maybe it should feel even more expendable based on like Forge map. Like those were definitely just expendable minions, basically, right?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
Especially if I guess the question is, well, not the question, but a question is, does it get at any point the ability to forge and maintain more than one at a time? Is that a thing that should be in the class or no?
Well, if we're sticking with the concept of Forge Master, then yes, maybe. But just not sure. Are you gonna balance it similar to Nexus of Bones if it does that? Because
Nexus of Bones was unique. That was something else entirely.
Well, if you did allow them to summon a bunch of them or create a bunch of them at once, it would probably have to be something equivalent to like conjure animals again with like a wolf pack. Like where they're just kind of vanilla creatures, not like really highly specialized things like the other.
Well, I wasn't saying like a whole swarm of them. Maybe like 2 at once. But maybe not. Maybe just 1 is fine.
you're also considering like the turn, like because most creatures, I mean, I assume that you probably have it go like after its owner in combat or whatever. Does
Yep.
the Forge Master use its turn to wield its creatures, or how does that, But anyway, like with the druid and conjuring stuff, it was sort of like an issue in combat because turns might take a little longer because I'm controlling too many creatures. Just a consideration,
Mm-hmm. That's always a big concern. And it's the reason why, like, the meme behind Circle of Shepherds, where, like, they just get entirely too much creatures that they can control as both their base class and all their spells and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
So just one big boss pet basically is the way to go. I think. Right?
I think so.
I don't know how you would make it. If you're talking about making it like a Nexus, it means that it doesn't have a stat block, right? And that changes up the direction that the class is going entirely.
Well, that's only if you were to summon, like, multiple creatures, I think. But
Yeah.
I think
okay.
if it's just the one specialized boss feature, then you don't have to do that. So.
Alright, so what do we call these? Initiatives. And then what else? So how does it fight? How does it fight? How does it fight? I mean, how the Forge Master fights should be the subclass, I think. Your whatever we decided to call them. Your gates. Let's just do this for now, I guess. Just one per level? I don't know. Might be too good. One build point. Depends on, these are the things that are gonna, like, your ability points to distribute for your thing.
Yeah, that's probably good.
And then customizations, that's like the probably none at then whatever we're gonna call the customizations, just like invocations, why not? We'll start them off at second level. Put a third one in there. Then how does this go? We're just gonna go. What is this? 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. Eight, 9, 10, 11. Just to be weird. Because 12 is a nice number. So the customizations are your options. So you'll have 12 options to choose from. Is that enough? I don't know. And your build points are you can spend the things to customize the creature. So over here is like your wings, claws, whatever. And then here is the resource for building them. Okay. It's not a caster. We've established that it's not a. What's up?
Somehow Doom got banned. I have no idea what happened there.
Did you actually ban yourself? Oh, welcome back.
Wait, he really banned himself? Hold on.
No, he's trolling.
I was just playing along.
This troll.
Can someone look into it? The spammer is back.
I know, we'll get him out of here.
Get him out of here. All right, so let's see. Obviously, third level is when you get your subclass because we're homogenous and boring and stupid. Just like, never mind.
Wow.
What?
Oh, nothing.
What?
Nothing. I'm just hanging around.
We got a hell yeah.
From what? Being homogenous and boring and stupid?
But we don't have the
yes.
the better hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah.
I don't know if that you hear that on stream or not.
No, I don't, because I don't have
I'm definitely.
soundboards.
Oh, well, hold on, but maybe it still comes out. I will.
Yeah,
check
but
it.
You have it.
Yeah, it should be on there. That's the hell
But I
yeah
can't
that we
hear
need.
it. I can't hear it.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's you're missing out.
Hell yeah! Okay. Sounds good to me.
It was
I didn't
heard.
hear it.
Let's
That's
go. I was just saying, Dune has heard it. He's on the stream. He, perceived the helm. Yeah,
Oh, well, it's not Helm, yeah, but
It's the.
I know.
but we can we can say it's Helm, yeah. Helm, yeah.
Okay, so at what level does this thing? That's weird. If it's not a caster, that means it's a martial class by default, right?
Well, yes.
Does that mean it gets
So does
extra
it use the
attack at
hammer?
5th level?
Does it punch stuff? Oh, extra attack. Yes, probably. I mean, unless it doesn't have a turn, unless it takes its turn, like, instructing its
As
creature
the-
what to do.
That would seem weird and bad.
Isn't that how Ranger works?
Well, Ranger used their bonus action. But I probably wouldn't have this thing command its thingy, whatever. Because that's how a pet class should be. You shouldn't have to use a bonus action to command your as a pet class. Fuck that. So that's... So 5th level would be what? Just extra attack.
Like, since it doesn't, I don't know. Is this entity being concentrated on, or?
No. It's a pet class. You're not concentrating on it, no.
Well, good, because you can't cast spells, and that wouldn't make any sense. So that's good.
Well, you still can't cast spells, but yeah.
That's what I'm here for. The nonsensical questions.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Are we gonna fix Ranger pet class by
You can
doing
just be
this?
whatever. I mean, What? Are we adding beast to this? I thought we were gonna go more
Oh no 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 no! I'm just saying
mysterious. No,
we're gonna create a
maybe,
successful pet class and we're gonna fix
maybe. Yeah.
fix Beastmaster.
Let's see, Forge empty and initiatives. What does Warlock even give you? Like,
For
if
what?
we're looking at
A headache?
yeah. Excellent. Wonderfully done. No, as far as like if you have like a pact of the whatever, if you're a pact of the tome, do you actually get anything from that outside of when you take it, or is it just when you take it and then invocation?
If I remember, Pact of the Tome gives you access to certain spells that you can now cast like ritually, and then there's invocations that expand on like extra spells that you can add to your list that you can cast for like free, either indefinitely or like X amount of times per day. I think is how it works, right, Dune? I know you helped Austin build it, so
It's just invocations later, so it's
Yeah.
literally kind of not a small thing because it's important for many. Still very. So you just take it at what's it, second level, whatever that. Third level.
Yeah, you get your pact
Third
at
level.
third.
Right,
Yeah.
third level you get your pact because you get your subclass at first level. The way
Mhm.
it should be.
Or you can do it all at once. D&D 1 style.
So you just
Warlock
get a little something.
Yeah, I think you get a very limited in D&D 1. You get a very limited invocation list, and one of those is your actual packs, and then I think some other stuff that is not as big. And then you get
Okay.
your subclass and your pact right away.
Yeah. So stay
Yeah.
with me here.
Yeah.
For the Forge Master,
Uh-huh,
we might get a little maybe. But considering the fact that the Forge Master is not a caster class, right? Considering that, what if? So you get your initiative, which is like your pact, right? At first level. Out the gate, you're like, I'm a specialist in crafting fays or fiends or celestials or whatever, you know? Make sense?
I couldn't hear you over the whining of my dog. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Can you repeat that, please?
So level 1 is the initiative, right?
Mhm.
Where you have maybe that shouldn't be level 1. I don't know. It would give you. So the way I'm thinking about it, when you have the Forge empty thing and you conjure it in the first level, you can create a pet. The base class, barring initiatives or anything else, is going to allow you to have some choices that you can spend your build points on to customize this base little empty here, right? Like, I think first level should be like slightly tougher hide, so like an AC bonus. Maybe instead of dealing like having like a D4 slam attack, it can be like a D6 or something if you focus on that. Maybe something like where maybe its base speed is like 20 or something, or 25, and you could bump that up to 30 or 35 or something like that, right? And you have those choices. And then your initiatives also add one extra choice based on whatever. So you can have like something that skews it towards being more Fey-like or more undead-like, whatever, right? Anyways, back to my original thing. Since this does not have spells, would it be okay to have basically at certain levels, instead of like subclass features like normal classes do, where it would basically be like expanding on the Warlock pacts? So instead of, so like at 7th level, say we have like an initiative feature, where based on what you chose, you get a certain thing there, like Fey, Fiend, Undead, whatever.
There's been an observation. The Zen
Let's see.
special for his classes is making them the best things to multi-class into. Soon I'll be able to create him a character only multi-classing in all of Zen's builds.
What are you
true.
talking about?
That is true.
These things are gonna have like 5 times your
Yeah.
It's gonna have like 5 plus 5 times your Forge Master level or something like that. If you want to just take a dip, sure, you can have a pet with that deals a d6 of damage and has 10 hit points. Congratulations.
Yeah. I know what Astel's 2 last levels will be. I'm gonna multi-class into Armormancer. 2 levels. Let's go.
Blah.
Just create 4th level triggers left and right.
Nope. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's specifically set up so that you have to have the Armormancer level to use a spell slot of that level.
Oh, okay.
You cannot use a 4th level spell slot until you are for a trigger until you're a 19th level armor. It is specifically set up to avoid your bullshit.
A wyvern summoning, monster summoning, bloodletting, armormancer, trigger using.
Trigger using, yep. So I was like, haha, yes, all of these things that don't require concentration. 2 levels in Dragoon, 1 level in Convoker, 1 level in this thing. I'm just gonna have all the things. Beastmaster Ranger as well, yes, please.
Captain Planet.
And the rest of them into Shepherd Druid. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fight combat by myself. This is gonna be me and the DM just going back and forth with my 30,000 enemies versus his 30,000 enemies.
All right, nope, that's fine. Dune's convinced me. Everything requires a bonus action to use now.
Man, you pushed it too far, man.
Yeah.
We're about to have a fun class here, but now it's
Nope.
a
Sorry.
bonus action class.
Bonus action class.
So you're gonna do with your bonus action?
You're gonna command your pet because you have to. Because
Yep.
people like Dune exist.
No.
I mean, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. What else are you gonna do with your bonus action? You don't have any other bonus actions on
That's
this class
what I
anyway. Who cares?
Bonus action, drink a potion, clearly.
Drink. Oh, clearly. So maybe not, because I think that if I made it like an initiatives thing, that would really make the document really long. Because every time I would be like, "Here's a new initiative feature," it would have to be 7 different things into that one feature, for like Fey, Fiend, Undead, Monstrosity, Celestial, whatever. So that's
Okay, so because we're talking about D&D, every time the word initiative leaves your mouth, I'm looking for a dice.
yeah. See, that's what I was talking about.
Is this
That's what I was talking
problem?
about before. So yep. So maybe no
It
initiatives.
can't be this.
Maybe it can't be this. Yep, that's what I was saying.
I
That's
was
that's
trying
the
to
first
wait.
thing
I
that I
was
said.
I was like, wait, we'll see. We'll let this go for a while. And I'm like,
So
nope.
instead of
It's like
initiatives,
I'm like, I need a
maybe
D20.
maybe it's the businesses. I'm in the business of
Roll for your
beans.
initiative.
Yeah, roll for your initiatives. Initiative.
Dudes,
Oh my,
rolling.
Initiatives.
not the initiatives.
Initiatives.
Oh, do we do it to him?
Is that like Socrates? Socrates.
Boy, no way, boy.
A legend of likeness, I'm sure. Alright, so instead of certain initiatives, like that's our paths or our pacts or our what? Our attunements. Our
What if like it was like the whole idea of like the gate
Dominion.
thing? What if it was like a key or something? You know, like
Fakey?
no, like a key. Like we have like rift keys because they're
Yeah, so
closing
like
the
you'd
rifts.
have like a fakey. If you were choosing like the key of like if you
That's what I
face.
heard. I didn't understand. You meant like a key of the Fae. It's just like
All
a
right, so maybe that's not the best.
I thought you were teasing me.
So instead of what is it like a lock, padlock? Choose your padlock. Choose your favored and ally.
Oof.
Instead of favorite enemy, you have favorite ally.
Okay, hey God. So the Forge Master was making demons and stuff, right?
Night creatures, correct.
Night creatures, right? Okay. Anyway, so what if you used like other crafting things to create other types of things? Like, so they aren't all Forge Masters. You're just a master of something like a tool. Something?
Tool
I
master,
don't know.
the biggest tool.
No, that's just artificer again.
Loom weaver.
Like the Fey Weaver or the.
You're
You
not
know-
a Fey weaver though. It's all of the things. Are we not talking about the?
How about the subclass things? Like you're like a different kind of.
So we're sticking with Forge Master for the class.
Probably. I just meant like, maybe you could play more on like, I don't know. Other crafting implements.
This is just the Dark Officer.
Dark Officer.
Yes. The Dark Officer.
That's exactly what we want to see. The Dark Officer.
The Dark Officer. The
The
Night
Edge Officer?
Sworn.
The Edge Officer. Yep.
The Edge Lord. I am the Lord.
What if you're just called the Artisan? The Artisan class?
The Artisan.
Yeah.
The Autism.
So,
Like, artisans' tools?
Yeah, you have magical artisans tools that help you forge these creatures.
Ah, got it. Artificer.
What? No.
like I said, Artificer is too broad and all-encompassing. It's a bad, description for our class.
The Edgy Fisser.
The Edge Officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Tool Man. Tool Master. The Gate Weaver.
Well, is there some sort of name or name tied to someone that forges chimeras that we can find somewhere? Does that exist? Someone that creates monstrosities?
The Chimeramancer.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't
Just
it
add
just
Mancer
mentioned?
to. What?
In the Eden story, we had those Charlayan Empire guys. I don't know what they were actually that created the Manticore.
Shadovin.
Yeah, well, not Shadovin, but I mean
What?
the Soraya
What's the?
thing.
Yeah, those were Shadovin.
Well,
What do you mean,
yeah, but,
Charlayan Empire? What is?
whatever. Sorry, you're right.
You said
I mixed
no,
up
and-
Final Fantasy. You're right.
I'll be back.
I didn't
Alright.
mean the people. I meant I don't know what kind because I don't think the people as a whole were responsible for her
No.
being created. But
What if I just pounded the keyboard and saw what came up? Until a word happens. Oh, it's going off. It's not wrapping around. Oh no. Oh, what's that there? The Nereid? The Gneard? The Falconeer? The ukulele?
What about architect?
The creature architect. The soul architect.
Thaumaturgist from Doom.
That sounds magic-y.
I'm just gonna spit words. Arsonist.
Arsonist? The arson. I play as an arsonist character. I set fires.
Uh,
Just a puppet master.
true.
A marionettist. We're doing this. Puppeteer. The Flesh Weaver.
No.
No? No? No. Why not? Oh, I got it. The bodybuilder.
Is this a joke?
What?
Is this a joke, Brew?
What do you mean? The person, he literally builds bodies. Fine. What do you mean? What's the problem? Okay, so not bodybuilder. Let's look at synonyms. The form sculptor. The skin weaver. The skin stitcher. Hmm. Constructionist. Forge master. What else would it be, though? What else would it be, though? The Doom Sculptor. Need help. Why are we renaming it? Why not Forge Master?
I don't know. I wanted to get rid of the initiative thing because every time you say initiative, I'm like, let's roll a dice, and it's weird. Like I, tried to give it time, but
So the initiativist?
no, we want to. Never mind.
Those look like M's, don't they? Like the ITI looks like an M, and the IVI looks like an M too. What if I just replace those with capital
Say that
M's?
word.
Which word?
The word I just posted.
Metempsychosis? Metempsychosis? So like, oh, so what? Like, metamorphosis? Something like a metamorph thing?
You guys had mentioned
Meta-
earlier something about something like having the ability of like trapping a soul in a coin or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's still in the class, but what about it? Metempsychosis. What is that?
Well, metempsychosis is the supposed transmigration at death of the soul of a human being or animal into a new body.
Okay. So the metempsychosis is the person that facilitates that.
Correct.
I mean, it's
And that doesn't exist
a
like at all.
It's
You
a,
can't.
it's a mouth. It's a bit of a
Metempsychosis is a word, but
just
not
add a T to the end.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be metempsychosis?
Metempsychosis. Yes.
Yeah, like a biologist. It's not a biologist. It's not
Yes.
It's not a biologist. It's so it would it
Biologist,
would
yeah,
be
true.
yeah, it would be metempsychosis.
Try saying that 5 times.
There you go. All right, so your metempsychosis feature. Oh, well. Is there a better way to say this?
Does there need to be?
I
See,
think so.
the thing that's cool about this is that it means that it's not going to be mistaken for artificer now. Definitely
Oh
not.
yeah, absolutely not. It's
Exactly.
not going to be mistaken for anything else ever. Metempsychosis. It just looks wrong.
Madam Psychosis. Yes.
Madam
got it.
Psychosis, sis. When your
Metempsychosis. Sis.
Yeah,
Sis.
that's just Madam Psychosis. It's fine.
Madam
good.
Psychosis. That sounds like a DC villain.
I mean, if you're forging creatures of the night, aren't you a little bit, Melanie?
Maybe. All right, we'll table that one. That's, unfortunately our best thing so far.
Like, Forgecaster isn't, but you don't have, like, subclasses for it.
What do you mean? I don't have subclasses for it.
Like the Forge Master. Like, if you just name it Forge Master, you insist on using initiative, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah, but Forge
Oh, for
Master
some
is just
reason, we have
some
to get
master
rid of
blacksmith.
Forge Master so that you'll continue to use initiative. What?
I'm not using initiative. It's gone. You can see that it's not there anymore.
Are you sure?
What if it's the Scourge Master?
Huh.
All right,
That's
we'll
pretty
table
good.
that one. That's pretty good.
I think that's a thing in WoW, but I think you're fine.
What if we call it the Death Knight?
That's definitely a thing in WoW, and I don't think you're fine.
How about the Druid?
Because, like, I think the Scourge Masters were, like, something under Arthas. I don't know. It's...
Scourgeologist.
Yep, Druid. Perfect. Gorgens.
You know what? I can use like, way of in here since we're not using that for monk anymore, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can table
Way of
this
the
now if you
Forge.
guys wanna work on the path of the small anime girl with an oversized weapon. Can do that. We could do that. We could do that instead. I don't know. Instead of this, what? Let me see if I could do it from memory. Medum psychosis. That looks too. That looks like too many. There's too much ISIS in there.
Oh, this is what we landed on.
Medum psychosis.
I go away for 10 minutes.
I go away. It worked. Well, you see. Well, let's educate you. Metempsychosis is actually the. You tell him, dude.
Metempsychosis is the ability to transfer the soul of a thing at the point of death, new body.
Ah.
No, that's metempsychosis is the act of that happening. So a metempsychosist would be the one that facilitates that action.
Hmm.
And it also cannot be mistaken for artificer. You see,
Why don't we just call him Medum Psychic?
metempsychic.
Yeah.
Metamorph,
Oh, it's Metamor. Okay.
not metamorph. It's metamorph. So instead of shaping a body, you're shaping the.
That's good.
I don't know. It would just
Yeah,
people wouldn't
metamorph.
understand. People wouldn't understand.
I just want to be an Animorph. Oh wait, that's a druid.
The Animorphs.
Hmm.
Flesh Weaver.
Sure.
Dune
Yeah.
doesn't like Flesh Weaver. He doesn't like it though.
Absolutely not.
Cause flesh.
Why
you know?
not? But undead is a creature type.
Okay.
Soul Stitcher.
I mean, Soul Weaver is also a thing, but is that too much? Does that
If we
properly
lean
represent
into
the
the-
class?
If we lean into the soul thing,
Hmm.
Soul Reaver is one of my favorite games ever.
it
Hmm.
reminds me of Dragon Age, and Reavers are more like Dark Knights than it.
Yeah, I was thinking like if you do Reaver, then I feel like it's more of a melee class, right?
Yeah.
Stand Weaver.
A Stand Weaver. Metamancer.
Metamancer.
Metemmancer. Metem. Necromancer. That's not been done before.
True.
Yeah. What about? Let's see. We have. Smith, forging, soul forge, soul.
Peak.
Peak.
Peak contest content. All right, we're gonna figure this out right now. All right.
Right now? All right, let's do it. So right now I think we have Metem, so Metamorph, Metempsychosist.
That sounds more like a condition.
Yeah.
Rather than a.
Scourge Master. We could just leave it Forge Master though. Like I don't.
Yeah, Forge
Don't
Master's
know.
not bad. But if you would put Scourge Master, but not everything on that list is a Scourge. Like thing. When I think Scourge, I think
Yeah.
more about like undead and maybe demony. But
Yeah.
hmm.
Are we requiring some kind of artisan's tools to create these things?
I think you have your own tool, and it could be just like a tool that you pick off a list, kind of like
Like a focus?
yeah, like a focus, and it's more like a background. You know how with backgrounds you get all these special items that are just useless, but they have like a little flavor text to them. You can just have one that they all do the same thing.
idea. What if that played into shit? What if that was like determined like your kind of play style?
No.
Like
Okay.
if you forge stuff with like an arcane focus or even like a holy symbol or something like that, then that plays into like what the Forge Master or Scourge Master is, or whatever the metempsychosist. You could like also use like a weapon, like the guy that uses a dagger. That can be the thing that creates the stuff too. And that's more of the weapon, whatever.
What are all the ones we've seen so far? So we've seen the dagger and the hammer.
I think that's I don't know any other for.
The only other one was a machine, which was from the one with
right.
Richter. The one with Richter, there was no actual Forge Master, or I think there was a Forge Master, but they made it like this machine that just
Did
did it autonomously. Yeah, it was weird. It was more like a what's it called? I can't even think of the word. The thing when there's like it's on a conveyor belt and stuff and like industrialized. I don't know. Maybe something with crafter. Or craft. Soulcraft.
I think we're trying
Metacraft.
to get Metacraft. I think we're trying to get away from anything that might have it be artificery.
Hard. I mean, I don't think we should use it as the crafting as the basis for as the sole dominion of artificer though. But I get where you're coming from.
Anyways, so we'll stick with Forge Master. I was thinking, I do like the idea of metempsychosis coming in some. Maybe that's like instead of level 1 thing.
Yeah.
It depends. Like, are we going into that level? Is this person repurposing soul? Is that what? Or is it something else entirely? Like,
Well, they could be repurposing the souls by having them kind of like creating aberrations alongside with the empty, right? It's like they're creating this aberration of different creatures, right? And they're using that to fight.
Yeah, they would be making. Basically, it would be like they're creating. It would be kind of backwards as what the Forge Masters in Castlevania is, because the Forge Masters in Castlevania they take the bodies and give them new souls or spirits to, like, inhabit. This would be taking the souls and giving them a new body,
Hmm.
or using the soul as fuel for the body for their puppets, basically.
Yeah, that's so crazy and creepy.
Yeah. So I don't know if it would be. I'm not sure if this is a necessarily a good class. I don't know how you would make this, good people.
It's the same thing as necromancer, really. I guess. You know, like in
I
terms of like you can't really justify
guess.
always that a necromancer is a good person.
I mean, the thing about necromancers, like, you're just repurposing the bodies, right? You're not like saying, actually, no, you don't get to go to your afterlife. You're gonna be a fucking cat instead. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's deities based around hating, disparaging any sort of necromancy or playing with the
Yeah,
dead.
but
So
like, I don't necessarily want to make a class that forces you into a certain alignment or bars you from being a certain.
yeah, I agree. But even Forge Masters by nature were evilly inclined.
I think they were evilly inclined because of what they were, the result, the goals that they have. I don't think that Isaac was evil.
He wasn't, but
Yes.
he wasn't evil, but he was kind of put in a position where he was still like on some level not good.
Sure.
Castlevania just
He
does a really
was
good job.
lawful.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Or you cut out. You said lawful what?
Oh, I think it's lawful neutral. Like, he's just trying to establish, maybe even lawful evil. Maybe he's just chaotic, trying to establish something, right? So that puts him somewhere on the lawful spectrum. Probably not lawful good, so either lawful neutral or lawful evil. I don't think he necessarily cared about good or evil.
Yeah.
So I'd probably put him at lawful neutral. They're just tools, do whatever it is to establish whatever order he's striving for. But instead of initiatives, what do we call them? This is the thing. So we had them as initiatives, pacts, what determines whether you're Fey inclined, Fiend inclined, Ooze inclined, whatever. Mm.
Um.
It's like maybe another word for a tool, something like that.
Let's see.
Implement.
Instrument.
Instrument. Now we're bards. Okay.
Apparatus.
Apparati. practices, like a.
And you had to play with the idea of like a gate, so like you're bringing them from another plane of existence, right?
Or yeah, some maybe you don't necessarily.
To be like
I
a
don't-
pylon. It could
A
be
pylon,
a
a
rift.
beacon
Beacon.
or rift, a beacon.
Oh.
A signal, a a lighthouse.
The lighthouse for sure.
Yes. A signal, a bat symbol signal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Okay, we're thinking of a Smith's tools. What tools are they in there? Are in the Smith's tools?
Let's see, like a smith's hammer. It doesn't even have to be a smith's tool. Weaver, any sort of tools. We just don't like initiative. Initiative.
Yeah. Well, what's another word for initiative? Let's see. Well,
Well, we're looking
that
for.
would fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Was said earlier. Realms. Realms.
Realms. Okay.
What do we call them though? Forge realms.
That would also go into domain and dominion.
Yeah. Maybe dominions is better. But what, like, kind of dominion? Like they're your of the whatever, so they're packed dominions.
Well, what do you have an idea of the basis for where? Because this is for like the subclasses, right? So do you have an idea of?
No, this isn't the subclass. This was
Okay.
like the warlock pact. This is
Oh,
like your
okay.
pact of the tome, pact of the.
I see. Okay. Well, in what direction would it be? Like, where are you taking those packs? Is
What do you
it
mean?
like the packs? Is it supposed to be like the attack pack, the defensive pack, and like the magical pack type of thing? Is that what were your packs going to consist of
No,
exactly?
the pacts are going to be the Fey, Fiend, Celestial
Okay.
creature type.
Okay.
And then the gates are going to be the. Well, that would be. So, Nemo's in the chat. So that would be switching the
Ah, yes.
packs for the subclass. Because right now the subclass is the gate. Just call it the gate. Though I think
see.
maybe gate being the pact kind of thing makes sense. Because you're opening the gate to Fey, whatever, thing like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then the subclass being called the Dominion things.
Which would then be the specialization
Yeah.
of that gate.
Not of the gate, but that's your subclass.
Okay.
So the gate is like your pact, which the pacts in regard to this class are the creature type that you will get benefit bonuses for using, right? You'll get specific creature type bonuses. Maybe it doesn't need both. Maybe thinking what makes sense. I don't want it to be too complicated. I also don't want I don't necessarily want the subclasses to be what decide the creature type. So
Yeah.
maybe they should. Should they? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think your subclass should determine your playstyle to some degree.
Yes.
But I think you should have the liberty to pick whatever creature type regardless of your subclass playstyle. Because there's a lot of creatures that play into whatever the hell your playstyle needs to be. Right? There's a lot of fake creatures, a lot of fiends, a lot of everything.
Yeah, so that sounds good to me. So keep like the pacts, the creature types. So like, you can be a Pact of the Blade Genie Warlock if you wanted. Just like with this, you could be like a Gate of the Abyss or Gate of the Feywild for like fiends or Fae, but then you could choose your subclass, which is like I'm melee as well, or I don't know, whatever other stuff that we decide on for a subclass. I'm not sure what the subclasses are gonna do.
Mm,
Maybe we have like a third caster in here somewhere, like Eldritch Knight.
mm. I just have no clue. That's very hard. That's like my limit for input at this point.
So there would definitely be one that has to be like melee focused. That's easy, or at least I'm a fighter too. Like whether that's melee or whatever weapon, etc.
Yeah.
And then there'd be maybe one that's more pet. Do we want one that just makes the pets better, or do we want to leave the pet stuff to the base?
I don't know.
Maybe there's one that instead of maybe the melee or I don't know, maybe there's one that instead of forging a creature, you instead like graft those customizations onto yourself.
Yeah. That's kind of like the thing I mentioned a little earlier, like just like altering yourself with these whatever creature parts.
Instead of forging a new body you use your own.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought.
I think so, yeah, because it's just there's something there for sure, but it's very hard to navigate because at what point are we just going into like Eldritch Invocations or like I don't know, Beast Barbarian or something, so like what do we do? So it's hard to navigate it, but I think there's something there. I definitely think I would be very excited to see it be like a fully fleshed out pet class.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the coolest thing, where like you are just the pet class and have it work really well. But I just don't know how that looks.
Well, I'll work on it. I think that could probably say goodnight for now.
Yeah, we had a nice little stream there. We had talked about the stuffs.
Yeah, we did.
Thanks for everybody that came out.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to get this Dune like.
Yeah, we're gonna ban him.